Hi, I'm going to go through how to share 2FA codes with your team. What we're going to cover is the best way to do this that balances cost, pragmatism, and security. And when I walk through, I'm going to walk through my use case, um, why the solution I used, the upsides and downsides of that, how to implement that solution, and how this compares to other ways you could solve the problem. So my use case is I run a digital marketing business, and I have team members around the world. I need clients often to share their Google Analytics or their Google Search Console accounts with me and with my team. Now, I could create an email address on my domain for every team member and then tell the client, can you share it with these 5 people? But that's got a lot of problems. I mean, one, it's expensive because it means I have to create those accounts. I do anyway, but you might want to save money. And two, if a team member comes or goes, which can happen with freelancers, what do I do? Do I keep bugging my client to add and remove people? And then at the end of the engagement, there's like 5 email addresses for them to go remove. It just creates a lot of busy work and friction, which can prevent getting started. So instead, I create one single Google account and I share the credentials with the different people on my team, and they know that's the account when they need to do Google Analytics or Google Search Console review that they use. But that means that when different people from around the world try and access that Google account, Google will send a login challenge. And the way they challenge is to say, uh, we'll send a text message to this phone number on the account. Now, that means there's one phone number on the account. If that's my phone number, then I have to figure out who requested it, send them the 2FA code. And if I'm asleep or not around, that person now can't do their job. And so we lose a lot of time. So that was the original use case I had, and it's a giant pain in the backside. I also had a use case where myself as a digital nomad, I would have, if I was traveling, I would need to receive bank account text messages to log into things. And I didn't want to maintain phone numbers in different countries for the different bank accounts I had, or have roaming packages or eSIMs and all the trouble that comes with that. So this will actually also solve for that use case. But I'm focusing on this Teams one. A couple of other notes. Another use case, you might have a very expensive SaaS tool you use that you want multiple people on your team to have access to. And then it might be that there's an OAuth login with the Google account. So the only way to access it is by giving people access to that Google account. Or that the SaaS tool may have a lot of login challenges that they send via email or text. So this setup will again allow you to actually share SaaS tool access with everyone on your team, and then you can really cut down on your SaaS tool licenses. So I think this stack pays for itself. So the essential problem basically is if there's a text message involved, I guess also, one moment. So the challenge is Google tends to default to phone numbers, and a lot of accounts do. And that just is always going to be a hard thing to share typically. And that's what this stack solves for, that I'll get into in a moment. Same thing with authenticator codes. They go to a single device, not multiple devices. I'm sure that there's a way to share these, but I think that that's like an enterprise level solution where you have, I don't know, a device that everyone, a single device that everyone carries in the org. So we're not doing that. And then Google is not set up for multiple people to share this way. So this is why there needs to be a workaround. Here's the stack that I use, and I'll get into how I implement it in a moment. Basically, this works with Slack. You need to have Slack set up. If you're not on Slack, the stack won't work for you. But I think that you should, if only for this solution, you should actually be using Slack. Email, you need that access@company.com, that example. You need one of those email addresses. I'm saying if you're doing this on Google Stack, which most of you will be, that's $12 a month. I think any solution you use is probably going to be using this. And if you're already paying for Slack, you're already using this anyway. So, yeah. So, and then SMS to Slack, what this does is it bridges that gap between text messages and getting them online in one place. So now you're no longer tethered to national carriers in the way that you would be with a personal device. So this is the real goal. This is the unlock here. And then one password for sharing credentials. I'm not including this in the calculations because I think that any solution you use, you're going to have a one password stack, or a password management stack. So the total cost of this is like $34 a month, assuming you get like 30 texts a month because it's 10 cents per text. That's just for receiving the texts. And let's say you have an expensive SaaS tool that you can now share and cut down on your seats, then the stack pays for itself. So that's the other benefit. All right, I'm going to get into the benefits. I'll show how to set up the stack at the end. So the benefits, basically, you can share all the SaaS solutions with one seat, and that saves you on cost. It removes the SMS, national SMS. Like if you're roaming, you don't have to think about that. That doesn't exist for you anymore. You don't have to tie it to personal devices. And as long as you got Wi-Fi access to access Slack, you're fine. And anyone in your team is fine. Actually, you can also use what I'm about to show you for other places in your business, like communicating with customers, because this is a way that you can actually send and receive text messages in Slack too. So that has so many benefits. You can maybe more for brick and mortar. So if you have a bunch of people out in the field, they can text this number and you can reply them from inside Slack if you're sitting at desktop. But I won't get into that too much. It's also very easy to onboard and remove people for security reasons. So you can remove them from Slack, disable their one password, and you're fully secure. Now, the downside is this only works with Slack. So that's maybe a bottleneck. If everyone on your org is on a different platform, then this may not be for you. Compliance is annoying if you want to send texts. So there's a whole process, especially with US numbers, you've got to go through if you want to send text, but you don't need to go through that if you're just receiving, which is what we're talking about here. And then if you forget to onboard, but that's, then you have data leakage or folks may log in and run up usage on your SaaS tools. So, but that's with any, so that every solution has this issue if you forget to offboard people. So the other solutions I looked at, a lot of these just won't work, but these are the proposed solutions I tried and thought about. And yeah, so the obvious one actually is if you created a Gmail or a Google account, a Slack account, and bought a login seat for every SaaS tool you needed, and you shared, when clients need to share their Google Analytics or anything with you, you just tell them all the people in your team. That's the most secure, but that's like exorbitantly expensive. So that's why I wouldn't do that. Maybe for enterprise, if you have an IT person, then you can start going down that road. I won't. Yeah, this isn't security advice, by the way. This is just what I do. So if you implement something and it doesn't work out the way you want, that's on you, not on me. I'm not an IT professional. You can try eSIMs. This will work for maybe the digital nomad, like getting your bank texts. But I've heard mixed things. Like you have to be in the US to activate them, stuff like that. So that actually won't work, and you actually can't get eSIMs to sync with your Slack. So this actually won't work. You wouldn't be able to share with anyone. I've also heard similar mixed things with Google Voice, that they don't send text, they only do voice, and they've got more compliance because they're Google, so they don't want to get in this. They don't help out. Google Fi, if you're outside of the US too long, they switch off, so you need that doesn't work. It's got that restriction. Skype shut down, so that's gone. You can use something like GoLogin, but that's actually designed for people who want to run like 10 personal Facebook accounts or something. I don't think it connects to text either. Now, this may work. There are some comm suites out there where they pull all the communications into one channel, but they usually cost like hundreds of dollars a month, start at the starting rate and go up from there. And they're not really designed for this use case. They're more for like just talking to your customers, which is fine and all, but that would probably be overkill. I'm really concerned with this one really annoying problem I had. Okay, now here's how you implement the stack. So I'll walk through it. You create a private Slack channel for accessing credentials and 2FA codes. I'll just say 2FA codes. You add the team members to it, and then you grab that email address. So I'll show you what this looks like. So you're in Slack. Let me go here. You would just basically create a channel. If I can remember how to do that. No, let's go back. There you go. Create a new channel, blank channel, channel name, and then go access, codes, something like that. You make it private, and then you would click create, right? I have my own. Now, if you go to this, then you grab the email address. To do that, click on the channel details, click on integrations, and then send emails to this channel and copy. And now you have an email address, right? This is the email address you're going to use on accounts when they say, hey, where do we send like the 2FA code or a login challenge? But this will be the one for Google accounts when you get the login challenge there. Next, you set up SMS to Slack. So we're setting up the two channels, email and phone numbers. So for SMS to Slack, let me just go back here. You go to the website, smsslack.com, click add to Slack. You'll go through all this. You click allow, right? And then you go through from here. I've already set it up. So here's what it looks like on the other side. Go to SMS to Slack down here, and you'll create a phone number. So you select your country, hit continue, and then that channel that you set up before, we'll do 2FO as the name of the thing. You'll connect it like this to there. And then for the phone number, you can pick any of these, right? Blah, blah, blah. And then you click purchase. And then you can just follow from there. But now you have a phone number, right? So you would pick that phone number. Leave. Okay, cool. So make a note of that email, make a note of that phone number that you have, right? So we've done step 3. Now you're going to create that email account. So that's just going through the Google user, right? You have to be a Google admin. You create a new user. Use whatever convention you like. I would just use like access or accounts. I'll just make this access actually. And that's going to be the email. And that's going to be the one that you share with clients, or if you have that same use case, share with anyone on the outside, share the credentials, or share access with this email account. So just be thoughtful, just use something professional. That's why I use access typically. It's very straightforward. Now, when you create new SaaS logins that you want to share with the team, you'll create them with that account, not with your personal or business email. Okay. And then in that email account where it has the recovery, where it has, the phone number for that account, that's the most important one, actually. You don't really, it says set recovery email to that channel. Actually, that's probably wrong. Don't do that. Instead, you want to set the recovery to an email address only you control. So it might be your personal email. So no one can steal access to that account. But the phone number, recovery phone, that should be the account you just set up with SMS to Slack. Now you add the credentials to that Google account into a 1Password vault. And then in the future, when you're onboarding team members, you just have to make sure you give them access to that vault. So I say 1Password, whatever password manager you use, they will have a vault system, or should. If they don't, get a different one that does, and then share access that way. Now, when you're creating the SaaS accounts, yes, you'll use that email, but here's what I would suggest as well. You use this plus the tool name, right? So let me think of like a tool like, let's just say it was like Facebook ads. It's not, but let's say it was, then you would do plus that. Everything before the at symbol and after that plus symbol, will go to the same inbox. So basically, email platforms, ESPs, they know to only send to like there, no matter what you put here. So you can put anything here, and it's just a filter, basically. So that way, I'll get into this in the next step, but you just use like the SaaS tool name. So if it's SimilarWeb, right? You want to share a SimilarWeb account or something, you would do this. Okay. Now in here in your email, that access account that you've just set up, you can go here, click on settings, which is where we are now, and then it will drop down and you click see all settings, go to filters, create a new filter, and then you can set the access plus, anything that's going to access plus similar web at, and then whatever your company name is, right? That you will create a filter and then you will forward it to, and then that's where you add the email address and you add the forwarding address for the Slack channel that we set up. And then that way, anything that's going to that SaaS account, any notification sent from that SaaS account will go to that Slack channel. So I haven't had to do that much, candidly, but that's how you would do it if you want to make sure that login challenges go there. You set up a filter so that they get forwarded there. Where were we? Almost done. So that's how you set up the filter. Then you will test it to make sure it works. And then lastly, now you need to just make sure everyone in your team understands how this setup works. So they need to know that, and here's the example of my channel. In here, when I get a verification code, it gets sent here when, if I'm trying to log in and it says send a text message to the Google account number and I click yes or I submit it, it will go to this channel. So anyone on the team can then log into that Google account. And then likewise, if I get a login challenge from different SaaS tools, I don't want to show you what they are here, to be honest with you. So I'm not showing you. I'm not going to scroll. I like scroll a little bit, maybe, right? Just so you know it's a real channel. But any email challenges that I get, they get forwarded here, and then they can. Sometimes it's a link they need to click on to be able to get access, and then they can click on it here. So that's how it works, and it works seamlessly. Now that it's set up, I never have to worry about sharing access to tools with anyone on my team ever again. We have a system that works no matter what, and yeah, it's all pretty sweet as far as I can say. So this was a really annoying problem. It took me months to figure out. No, not months, years to figure out how to solve. I'm really stoked that I found a stack, and this is exactly how to solve it. So there you go. That's how to share 2FA codes with your team safely, cost effectively, and pragmatically. Actually, I'm going to put this here. Safely being, let's see. And that is, I'm not an IT expert, not professional advice. So there you go. So now you know, don't take it that way. All right. I hope this helps.